Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Friday. The weekend is here. We made it through another week. We're 6 days from Christmas. Santa Claus coming to town. We're going to get you into the weekend in thrilling, dramatic, entertaining fashion. What a football game we had last night. What a football game. I'm going Dr. Umar here. I'm repeating myself, but that was incredible last night. The Seattle Seahawks 38-37 overtime victory over the Los Angeles Rams, overcoming a 16-point deficit with like 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Everybody, including myself, thought the game was over. The Rams had done what I kind of thought they were going to do, prove that they're the best team in football. That's what I went into the game feeling. I was a little bit nervous because of what was all going on with Puka Nacua, and that's where we're going to start today's show because we have a lot or two unique things we need to cover. What transpired in that game last night, what's been transpiring in the last 48, 72 hours of Puka Nacua's life, and I want to throw in some coverage of what went on in Phoenix, Arizona, outside the sports world as it relates to Turning Point USA and AmFest. And I have this little scenario that I have to work through that, on Fridays, we love to bring Coach JB on to kind of end the week talking about the National Football League, looking forward to the National Football League weekend. We can't do that until an hour from now. And so how do I talk about last night's game and Puka Nacua, talk about Turning Point USA and AmFest and the war, the all-out war that's going on in Republican politics at AmFest? Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, gloves off, mask off. It's out of the closet. It's on like Donkey Kong. And so I'm going to start the show talking about the Rams and the Seahawks and mostly Puka Nacua. Then we're going to not shut down the show, but just kind of take a break from the sports deal. Virgil Walker, our guy, is out. He lives in Phoenix now. He's out at Turning Point at AmFest. And so I want boots on the ground insight from man, what the heck just happened? They were throwing haymakers last night at AmFest. And so we'll do that for 20, 25 minutes or so with Virgil. And then we'll circle back to sports with Coach JB and return to our conversation about Puka Nacua, the Seahawks' incredible win last night. A little quick look into the football weekend. We'll probably talk some black quarterback stuff with JB. I've been talking about it all week. JB has been insanely accusing me, and I think good-naturedly and just being JB like that. I'm stealing JB's topics, so I'll confront JB about that, and we'll talk about that. But we have an amazing show, and the reason why we can have an amazing show is because we have an amazing partner, and that is PreBorn. You guys hear me talk about PreBorn on this show virtually every day. And it's because it is central to our mission here with the Fearless Army and the whole Fearless mission. We're saving babies' lives. We're helping mothers, expectant mothers, to understand that is God's greatest gift growing inside your womb. It's not a clump of cells. It's not a fetus. It's not something you want to destroy. It's something you want to nurture, develop, and bring life to, because that baby inside that woman may be the tool, the gift, the baby, the child, the human that God wants to use to save us all. And so what PreBorn does is provides expectant mothers that are considering ending that baby's life, they provide them an ultrasound. That ultrasound introduces the baby's heartbeat and image to the mother, and now that woman is twice as likely to choose life. This process of providing women ultrasounds has allowed PreBorn to save more than 300,000 babies' lives over the the lifespan of PreBorn. We're going to save a lot of babies' lives between now and Christmas because we are putting our Lord and Savior at the top of our Christmas list. And so before we go out and do any Christmas shopping for anybody else, we're going to PreBorn and donating $28, $280, $140. It's $28 per ultrasound. 5 ultrasounds cost $140. Whatever your best gift is, we're giving it right now. If you're planning, man, I got my little cousin, I got to spend $125 on his gift. Well, if that's right, what do we owe our Lord and Savior? What kind of gift can we give Jesus Christ? I've got a great one. Pay for an ultrasound. Pay for a handful of ultrasounds. Pay for what it costs for PreBorn to support this mother and child. Your best gift, your best Christmas gift should go to glorifying Jesus Christ in his way. I've got the perfect thing for you to do. Dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. You can give that way, or you can give the way that I prefer to give, preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. Join me and the entire Fearless Army in supporting our fight and our support of PreBorn. Listen, our money isn't wasted. It's not blown on high-level executives in their summer homes. It's not paying for some mid-level executive so that they can make $180,000 a year or $200,000 a year. Our money pays for ultrasounds. Dial pound 250, say the keyword baby, visit preborn.com/fearless. Thank you so much. Second thing I need you to do is, if you're listening over Apple, hit that 5-star rating. If they give you the opportunity, can I give it a 5.5-star rating? Can I give it a 6-star rating? Can I give it a 7-star rating? Hit that 5-star rating right now. It helps us fight the algorithm. All right, let's get into today's show. Puka Nacua, and I'm combining our two topics here today. One heavy in the sports world, this amazing football game, all the controversy surrounding Puka Nacua, and the controversy we got going on in the political space. And so we're calling this segment Turning Puka NFL. Turning Puka NFL. That's what's going on with Puka Nacua. The Rams lost the game last night in exciting fashion. The Seahawks won the game with an incredible fourth quarter and overtime performance and a decision to go for 2 points at the end of overtime. It's all incredible what they did, but everything's being overshadowed by what is going on with, arguably, and perhaps statistically, and perhaps if you were watching last night's game, I think perhaps indisputably, what's going on with the best wide receiver in the National Football League? What's going on with Puka Nacua, this kid from Brigham Young that's kind of come out of nowhere to be this incredible NFL star. I believe this is his third year. He's headed towards a monster contract extension. And so you would think a guy that's kind of coming from out of nowhere is now in position to sign one of these mammoth $100 million contracts as a wide receiver who's playing for the Los Angeles Rams, the organization that the NFL seems to be most invested in. You got Stan Kroenke, who's worth a lot of money and loves to spend a lot of money on his sports franchises. The Rams are willing to pay Puka Nacua virtually anything. And so you would think a guy like that, in that position, on the cusp of signing one of these multi-year 150, 200 million guaranteed contracts for the most part, you think he'd be playing things very close to the vest. You think he'd be like, man, let me make sure I don't get in a car accident. Let me make sure I don't get involved in any controversies. Let me make sure that I just make it to this incredible payday that's headed my way. Puka's playing things more loosely than that. He went on the Aiden Ross podcast and has sparked a controversy about himself and a conversation about himself where people are like, is this dude crazy? What's he doing clowning around with Aiden Ross? What's he doing? Why is he inviting controversy into his life? Then you have the whole situation with his brother being potentially involved in the car theft of some Los Angeles Lakers player. Puka Nacua's brother arrested, accused of stealing car belonging to some Los Angeles Lakers rookie player. I'm not sure what that's all about, if it's kind of shrouded in a little bit of mystery, or whether the kid, Puka Nacua's brother, thought he had permission or whatever. But there's a lot of conversation and a lot of controversy swirling around Puka Nacua, and the biggest one seems to be his appearance on Aiden Ross's stream. Aiden Ross is some popular streamer who was teaching or clowning around with Puka and saying, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do a Jewish celebration dance when you score your next touchdown. Let's play shot number one.
Go the ball, spin it, flex, then look and go like this. All right? Yes! Yes! Just like a bow, yes, just like this. All right, so do it all one.
Yo! Spin it, flex.
Dude! Yes!
In the camera.
He does that?
We got you do it?
Yeah.
Whoa!
That's easy.
Oh, that's
I like it.
pretty
All right, so let's do it together. Ready? Spin, flex. Oh my God, dude. You promised.
He locked it. I promise. I got you, man.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be fire.
Oh my God.
So this whole hand motion deal is, according to social media, according to, I guess, people concerned about discrimination towards Jewish people, this hand deal. And it's some sort of anti-Semitic trope. And so people are accusing Puka Nacua of participating in some sort of activity, some sort of mocking activity that's supposed to be anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish people. And I learned yesterday that this hand motion is allegedly a what do they call it? The happy merchant, I think is what I read on Wikipedia this morning. And so this entire conversation swirling around Puka Nacua is he allegedly practiced doing something and was videotaped doing something that's anti-Semitic. Here's what's interesting. The person begging him, imploring him to do this, and the person filming this is a Jewish person by the name of Aiden Ross. And I apologize for being 58 years old and not really tracking and following who Aiden Ross is. Is Aiden Ross, and I'm asking sincerely, is he the guy, did he tape something with Donald Trump at the White House? I'm getting a nodded head yes. And so that he's a popular streamer and he has massive influence with young people, I'm being told by Luke. No influence with old people like me. We don't know who he is. I do know, I remember hearing something about him doing something with Donald Trump at the White House. And it seems like maybe he's done, but a streamer is different than a podcaster. Is that right? Correct. Yeah, a streamer and podcaster are two different things. Anything that happens on the internet, I kind of consider, and this isn't me playing dumb, this is just me telling you what I think, that I think most people over about 45 years old can't distinguish between a podcaster and a streamer. And it may take days of explanation for me to know the difference between a podcaster and a streamer, but allegedly there's a major difference. And Aiden Ross, give me a couple of other names of popular. Is
I show speed, Carlson,
Kai Cenat, iShowSpeed, Neon. These are popular streamers. And I'm sorry for people. Whitlock's just playing dumb. Oh, he surely must know the difference between a streamer and a podcaster. I don't. The only thing I do streamers play video games while they're talking? Is that the difference between a streamer? Yeah, it seems like a lot of streamers seem to be involved with video games while they're talking or what. I don't know. But Aiden Ross has a lot of influence and a massive following with young people. Would he be considered? Again, Aiden Ross is probably into humor more than anything else. He's not because Nick Fuentes has a lot of influence with young people, but Nick Fuentes hosts a podcast. He's not considered a streamer. And he's got like a clear political point of view where Aiden Ross just kind of seems to be just humor and, hey, here I am doing cool stuff. And here, I want you to buy this game, or he makes things popular. Maybe that's how I would describe Aiden Ross. But here's what I find interesting is Aiden Ross is Jewish. He's talking Puka Nacua into doing this anti-Semitic trope, but all the uproar is directed towards Puka Nacua, and he must apologize. And I don't hear people demanding that Aiden Ross apologize and that he be canceled or that he face some sort of consequences. And it's probably because Aiden Ross doesn't have a boss. He's his own boss. And he's just a streamer. And there's no streamer company that he works for. And so Aiden Ross can run around and talk to young NFL players and convince them to do crazy things. And then the football players, face all the consequences while Aiden Ross is somewhere smirking, giggling, and growing his following and base. The other thing that Puka Nacua is doing is drawing a lot of attention is he keeps publicly criticizing the NFL referees. And that seems to be drawing a lot of attention, some consternation, people being upset. How dare Puka Nacua question the referees? And so immediately after this game last night that the Los Angeles Rams lost 38-37, Puka Nacua tweets out more criticism of NFL refs immediately after the game. Can you say I was wrong? Appreciate you, Stripes, for your contribution. LOL. This is immediately after the game, after people were already upset with Puka Nacua for trolling the refs and talking about the refs. He immediately goes back to it. He deletes it. Sean McVay is caught off guard, the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, about Puka Nacua and what he was tweeting after the game. He's having to address Puka Nacua and the controversy about the Happy Merchant dance that I'm telling you, and I apologize for this. I had never heard of the Happy Merchant dance until this morning, last night, when I'm having to research this. And I don't think most people in America don't know what the Happy Merchant dance is. This isn't stupidity. This is just my reality. When I saw the hand deal, the first thing, and I wish I tweeted this out, guys. See if you can pull up my tweet. When I saw the hand deal, I thought of the meme that's popular over social media. There's a black guy, and I don't know, he's not famous or whatever, but there's a black dude that's hiding behind a tree with his hands clasped, and he's looking out with anticipation. That's what I thought they were doing, or that's what I thought it signified. Something that's very commonplace and popular over social media. People use it all the time over Twitter to make some point. Someone's waiting in anticipation because they're about to strike or they're about to take advantage of whatever controversy it is. In joking with friends or before some meal, making a fat joke about myself, I would do this type of hand signal with my lips like that. Like, man, I can't wait to dig into all this food. Call me an idiot, and I am an idiot, but that's what I thought of when thinking about Puka Nacua and this deal. Those were my initial thoughts. It had to be explained to me that this is some sort of anti-Semitic trope, and that if he had done this in an NFL game, in my mind, let's say there's 70,000 people in the stadium, I would think 15 of them would go, oh man, that's an anti-Semitic trope. I would think that 500 people in that stadium would go, oh, he's talking about he's anticipating doing something sinister, or he's about to take advantage of a situation. And then I think about, again, did I say 70,000 people in the stadium? Then I think the other 69,000 people would ignore it, have no idea what's going on, and would just keep it moving and not give it a second thought. But because we live in this social media-driven world, we're influencers, and we have this hypersensitivity and focus on anything that could be connected to anti-Semitism. This is a major controversy, and Sean McVay is having to address this after the game and having to address Puka Nacua continuing to troll the referees. Let's play SOT 3.
Out, kind of taking like a veiled shot there at the refs. I mean,
What are you talking about?
you just put something on Twitter a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, so what are you asking me right now?
Are you okay
I can't
with that?
answer questions about something that I'm not aware of.
Okay, but are you okay with players kind of expressing frustration over things like that? Or is that something that you hope that they kind of keep to themselves? And
I got to have more information before I answer any of those kind of questions.
What conversations have you had with Puka about his live stream this week?
Yeah, he was very apologetic. I don't think he understood the totality of some of the things. I think he issued that apology. I know this guy's heart, and for anybody that was offended, terribly sorry about that. I know he feels that same exact way. He's a young guy that's a great kid that's continuing to learn about, just the platform that he has. I love him. We're going to continue to put our arm around him and help him learn and grow. But we never want to do things that ever offend anybody, and I know he feels that same way.
Puka Nacua last night caught, I believe, 12 passes for 225 yards. The guy was incredible. 2 touchdowns. He looks like the best wide receiver in the National Football League. He certainly looks like someone. The Rams can't win a Super Bowl without Puka Nacua. And the Rams, they spend a lot of money every year. And it's always Super Bowl or bust with the Los Angeles Rams and Stan Kroenke and what the NFL has done by going back to Los Angeles. If you want any relevance, you got to be in the Super Bowl contention. The Rams are all in this year and virtually every year on winning the Super Bowl. They can't do it without the best wide receiver in football. Matt Stafford is the leading candidate for MVP. If Puka Nacua is probably second or third, not in leading, but in deserving the MVP. Josh Allen's probably number 2, but Puka Nacua is right there in the top 3 in terms of importance. And I know the Rams have had, he just got hurt, Devontae Adams, who's been great as well. But Puka Nacua is the best wide receiver in the National Football League. I think he proved it last night against a very good Seattle defense. This man, with all this pressure, with all this attention, put on a show last night. Yes, the Rams lost in an incredible game. They blew it. They relaxed after being up 16 points with about 9 minutes left to go in the game. The game was incredible. The game is exactly what the NFL needed, because this has really been a poor NFL season. These offenses can't get things going on a consistent basis. Here you had an incredible game between Matt Stafford and Sam Darnold, the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams, Puka Nacua, and a defense in Seattle that's been playing lights out, and it's 38-37, and it's decided on a 2-point conversion in overtime when Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, just dropped his balls and said, you know what? We're going for it. And he actually hit it. They hit 3 2-point conversions in the fourth quarter and overtime. This was incredible. And one of the 2-point conversions in the fourth quarter was controversial. No one knew it even happened. They just thought it was an incomplete pass, and it took like 2 or 3 minutes before anybody figured out, like, oh man, that was a lateral that bounced off the helmet of a Los Angeles Rams defender, bounced into the end zone, and I believe it was Charbonneau that just picked it up for no reason for Seattle, kind of just picked it up in a nonchalant fashion in the end zone, and then dropped the football back down, and 2-point conversion. This was an incredible game, all overshadowed by whatever's going on with Puka Nacua, from his question of the referees to his brother perhaps stealing a car to his celebration dance that he's practicing with Aiden Ross and being set up to be put in some sort of Jewish controversy, to just his behavior on the field. At one point in the fourth quarter or late in that game, he's bickering back and forth with the Seattle Seahawks to the point where the refs are getting close to flagging him. The Rams are almost to the point we got to pull him off the field. This dude is, and this is where we'll talk with JB about this when we bring JB on. But as I sit here and think it through, it's like, man, Puka Nacua went from a guy that was a great NFL player from Brigham Young that no one had high expectations for, who last year and as a rookie put up really nice numbers and demonstrated, like, man, this guy can play. To now, with all of this controversy and his high rate of play, those things in combination, Puka Nacua just has come from out of nowhere to now we're about a week away from him being one of the 5 or 6 highest profile players in the NFL. He's about to move into Shador land. Now, and he'll have great play to go along with it. He'll be worthy of this. But he's about to be the highest profile wide receiver in the National Football League from out of nowhere. He's about to be the wide receiver that matters the most from out of nowhere. And other than a handful of quarterbacks, no one will be a higher profile player than Puka Nacua. And it's like, it's nice what he did his first 2 years in the NFL. It's nice what he's doing now in his 3rd year in the NFL. He's an interesting, fascinating player. He comes from out of Brigham Young. He wasn't some super high draft pick. And he's killing it. But now, with all of this controversy, and some of it seems intentional, or some of it seems like, hey, Aiden Ross has helped elevate him. This controversy is helping to elevate him. Now he's a talking point on everybody's talk show. Again, they're moving him into Shador land. Is this by accident? Because his behavior makes no sense. Before the past week and a half, 2 weeks, everybody would have thought, oh, that's that nice Samoan kid from Brigham Young. And didn't he grow up in Utah? And, he's about the 55th most interesting player in the NFL. And now he's moved into the top 5. And now he's got a chance to shoot up even higher. And in the aftermath, on the other side of the Cat Williams worldview that got expressed on Club Shay Shay 2 or 3 years ago, where everybody's planted and nothing happens by accident. That's where my mind goes as it relates to Puka Nacua. Like, who wants this? This feels intentional. This doesn't feel organic. This feels like a turning point for Puka. Puka Nacua was a 5th-round pick. And God bless him. The man's talent, we saw it as a rookie. We saw it in year 2. The man's talent is immense. He's got Steve Largent's hands and Michael Irvin's physicality. And he's feels to me a touch faster than Michael Irvin. And obviously, he has the greatest wide receiver maker, perhaps in the history of the NFL, in Matt Stafford. You know, Puka Nacua is just like, he's Cooper Kupp on steroids. He's a condensed version of Megatron. And now he's interesting. Now he's a talking point for social media. And now he's polarizing. We have all of this controversy in the political world as it relates to Israel and America. And now we got some big dumb jock from Brigham Young that's in the middle of that because of Aiden Ross, a Jewish guy who's facing no blowback for promoting Puka Nacua doing this allegedly well-known anti-Semitic trope called the merchant dance. Make it make sense. It's very hard for me to understand any of this. And so when we get to JB, I'll talk more about the game because the game was fascinating. But I wanted to start with Puka Nacua because what's happening to him, his insertion into the zeitgeist in this way, it's fascinating. Makes you go, Makes you go, what is it connected to? And it ties together these disparate ideas that we're talking about on today's show, because what happened with Turning Point USA last night at America Fest is very fascinating as well. And I wanted to, as we go into a weekend of holiday shopping and preparation for Christmas, I wanted to cover everything that was going on in the sports and the political world, particularly from last night, because it was all very interesting. And so we'll connect with Virgil Walker, who's in Phoenix and was at AmFest last night and will be there all weekend. And we'll get Virgil's take on Ben Shapiro's hyperbolic speech, Tucker Carlson's response, Russell Brand's incredible spiritual Christian speech. AmFest was popping yesterday. Popping dang near as much as that incredible football game we watched last night. We'll talk about that with Virgil. Before I get to Virgil, I want to remind you guys about my partner in crime on my health journey and just fighting inflammation, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that fights inflammation. It fights it naturally. It's an incredible supplement to help those of us that have reached an age where we start dealing with these aches and pains and we think like, hey man, I can't do what I used to do. I got to make compromised decisions on how active I want to be. You don't have to make compromised decisions. Relief Factor may be the solution that you've been looking for. It's like my friend Jeffrey Steele, who's 64 years old. He's in the country music singer-songwriter Hall of Fame. He's 64 years old. He bikes 30 miles every morning. He's out there right now biking. I'm out lifting weights on my Stairmaster. I was on my Stairmaster last night watching the game. One of the main reasons I can do this is because of Relief Factor. They have a 3-week quick start program that's only $19.95, just $20 to find out if Relief Factor is a possible solution for you. Everybody's got $20 to particularly if it can help you fight those aches and pains that are compromising your life. There's 2 ways to get it. 70% of the people that try the 3-week quick start, 70% of them experience the benefits of it, and circle back and re-up for the full Relief Factor program. You guys need to spend that $20, that $19.95, and give it a chance. 2 ways to do it, relieffactor.com. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800, the number 4-RELIEF. Virgil Walker, X.
I wish I had a voice, I would raise it now for all the silent ones no one seems to care about. I'd speak for all of us. Crank the volume up and let the simple truth cut through the noise. I wish I had a voice. Oh yeah. I'm the trucker that they're phasing out. She's a housewife, but you can't say that now. I've laid off factory worker whose factory's China bound. We're the coal miners, the firefighters, the Charlie Kirk choir, letting our lighters finally waking up. We've had enough of the liars setting the world on fire.
If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it. There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. Hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes, and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for, like, deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
All right, welcome back. That was Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson from a very, very fiery opening to AmFest, TPUSA's Super Bowl-like event for Republican politics, for the first time transpiring without Charlie Kirk. Our man, Virgil Walker, lives in Phoenix, is at the event, and I wanted to have a discussion about what transpired. I don't think we've seen anything like this, certainly in my lifetime in American politics, where there's this type of open, and look, I just don't know enough about politics. Maybe it's happened before, but it felt unprecedented to me, following this over social media. Virgil, you are in Phoenix. You were at the event last night. Is this unprecedented? How did it feel to you?
Yeah, it's unprecedented. I think the direct attacks, the direct verbal attacks, there would be, insinuating ideas, people who would make claims about things or challenge ideas or things like that. But we're talking about direct attacks on people. And these attacks are, calling someone a coward or, just imbecilic, just the kind of ad hominem attacks that you don't expect. Your hope is that at a TPUSA event in particular, which is normally the case, that people would make solid, sound, reasonable, arguments and allow those to take the weight of the day. It was disappointing to me for Ben to follow Erica Kirk and to be as bombastic as he was about the issues of the day. And I don't think that was lost on the people that were there this morning. As we head back, there'll be more time to digest what took place, to think through its impact, and I think there'll be ongoing discussion about Ben's performance as well as what followed and Tucker's response.
So Erica Kirk opened the event last night, and the first speaker is Ben Shapiro. That's a choice that's been made, that Erica Kirk, the CEO, is going to speak, and then the next important person is Ben Shapiro from the Daily Wire. And it probably, I just don't, they had to know to some degree what Ben was going to do, don't you think? I've spoken at TPUSA. I can't say that I had to have my speech cleared because I don't remember that, and I certainly don't remember that I would agree to that. But the person that's going to follow in behind Erica Kirk, who talked a little bit, quite a bit about unity, the person that follows in behind her says, no, I'm here to burn it all down, basically, is how I would describe Ben's speech.
That's what was so disappointing about it, Jason. I thought Erica laid out kind of this unifying message. Let's take it back to earlier in the week when you had the unprecedented conversation between her and Candace Owen, and then the messaging from them both to some degree was, let's turn it down a notch. To walk into the event and have Erica do absolutely that, and then to follow behind Ben Shapiro, who took the stage and really took direct shots at people, in my estimation, in personal ways. It just did not match the energy that I think was desired by leadership at TPUSA. I don't know that anyone vets, hey, send us your notes ahead of time, that kind of thing. Most speakers, given the national platform and all of the eyeballs that are on TPUSA, most speakers, out of respect for the direction of the organization, for the decisions that they've made, for the signaling that they've done, would kind of take a step back and say, you know what, let me dial this back. I want to match the energy of the organization I'm representing, and be sure to say things that wouldn't inflame any difficulties or problems. That's not what Shapiro did.
What would you say to someone like me whose instincts might be like, hey, this is necessary? Like, let's have the mask come off.
Sure.
And have people say what they really, really think. And so I've watched Ben's entire 20-minute speech, and I thought it was the most transparent Ben Shapiro I've ever seen, and I applaud that. I really do, because I think for a long time he's hidden behind others doing his attacks for him, and instead, no, he's standing out there, 2 feet planted firmly on the ground. This is what I believe. These are the people I don't like. Here's what I don't like. Maybe, again, we're at a time where maybe conflict and open conflict is necessary.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'd have no problem with the speech that he gave being delivered on his platform. That's my only thing. My thought about that is, if he wanted to be that transparent, I agree with you. If you watch that speech, you will see the real Ben Shapiro. I don't disagree with you. I think for better for worse, that's the impact of last night. But out of respect, because one of the arguments that he made in his speech was that we should stand on the side of Erica Kirk. The problem was that's not what he demonstrated last night when he got up and did what he did. And so if we're gonna side with Erica Kirk, if we're gonna follow her leadership, she's calling for unity. There's an obvious message to dial back kind of some of the bombastic rhetoric. That wasn't demonstrated in what it was a contradiction in the way that Shapiro delivered his message. Furthermore, if he wanted to take that full speech and even add extra emphasis, expletives, and whatever else he wanted to add to it, went onto his own show and delivered that, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I say, okay, that's Ben. He's on his. My issue is where he took the speech. I disagree with points he made and things he said, but that's neither here nor there. My thought process is that probably wasn't the speech for the TPUSA stage.
Now, I'm going to go a tiny bit more cynical. Perhaps, again, we're opening up AmFest. I'm going to open it up as the CEO. I'm going to turn it over to Ben Shapiro immediately following me. Maybe Ben Shapiro did exactly what Erica Kirk wanted done. I think that's fair to speculate. And I know we're not supposed to speculate, I guess, or we're not supposed to be human beings, and unless we have concrete evidence that Erica Kirk said, hey, give this speech, I can't have this conversation. But I can have this conversation because actions speak louder than words, and the actions of putting Ben on directly after her speaks volumes, and it's hard for me to believe that he didn't have some sort of okay to give a hyperbolic speech.
Well, perhaps that's it. It wouldn't have been probably. I think there are ways to, if the goal is to address the issue that of defamation or whatever you want to call it, that they believe that Candace is engaged in. If you want to address those issues, there was a way to do it without separating the entirety of the audience. There were applause lines that he had to wait for in order for them to kind of manifest themselves. You and I have attended a black church. If somebody's preaching real good, they don't have to wait for the amen. The amens are coming, right? And then you can know, I better stop, or they're not going to hear what I'm going to say next. That wasn't the case. He would make a statement and wait, and then for everybody to kind of Pavlovian response and applaud what he said. And those applause lines were muted. That's how you could tell that the full audience was not with him. It wasn't a unifying opportunity. If Erica decided to do that, you would also have to look at who she lined up after him. Russell Brand, and then followed by that was Tucker Carlson. So Tucker got up and did his thing and had a full. And in fact, Tucker's speech, if you go look at it, was actually, I think he got like 45 minutes to talk, whereas Ben, I think, had 20. I think his total 20. Time was 20 minutes. Yeah,
that was
20
the
minutes.
Question. The question and answer afterwards put it out to around 27, but it was a 20-minute speech.
And Tucker actually got the longest speech portion of the talk. So if you want to kind of split hairs and look at who got more time and the emphasis, you could do that as well with what Tucker shared.
Let me summarize, because I took pretty detailed notes, because there was substance to Ben's speech in terms of he felt like there's 5 obligations that the conservative movement has to live up to. And I want to, and within those, because if you don't watch the full speech, you'll think he only attacked Tucker Carlson or maybe only attacked Candace Owens. But it was a laundry list by the time he went through the 5 deals. He declared war on everybody. But first one was, you have to, the truth has to be your guide. And that everything we're doing as conservatives must be in pursuit of truth. And he pointed out, he went to a gay trans-loving furry killed Charlie Kirk, and like we all have to stand and believe that or espouse that Tyler Robinson did it. We have a moral obligation to, anybody that disagrees or speculates, we have a moral obligation to call them out by name, and that's when he referenced Candace Owens. Then he said we have to speak out of principle, that personal feelings and friendships don't justify silence. You can't cover up evil, blah, blah, blah. And that's when he got to Tucker Carlson, referencing Candace Owens again, calling out Megyn Kelly for, allegedly hiding behind friendships and not disavowing Candace Owens. That's where he said there's only one moral side here, and that's Erica Kirk's side. No excuses for cowardice. Then third, we have a duty to take responsibility for what we do. And this is when he chastised Tucker Carlson for platforming. I'm not sure if he used the word platforming, but interviewing, having on his guest, Nick Fuentes. And then you glaze him. Then he went after Daryl Cooper, the historian that Tucker has that, has a more broader view of World War II history. That's when he went after Andrew Tate. Then he said, fourth, you have to provide evidence with your claims. that, you can't just make claims. You got to provide evidence that it's a court of law, basically, is what he's arguing. It's not a podcast. It's a court of law, and we must be held to this some standard of this evidence. And he called Candace retarded. He called Steve Bannon a PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein. He went after Tucker again and said, Tucker, I think you get on stage and Tucker is calling Jeffrey Epstein a Mossad agent and blah, blah, this, that, and the third. Then he talked about the actual conspiracies that he's okay with, the Russia hoax and COVID, because there's evidence that those were hoaxes. And then the last thing that he said I found most interesting, he said, hey, we have an obligation to offer solutions and to propose solutions. And this is where where he substantively missed the mark, in my opinion, is because, and he attacked Alex Jones in this segment as well. So there's a laundry list from Alex Jones to Daryl Cooper to Andrew Tate to Megyn Kelly to Steve Bannon to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. He declared war. This ending about, hey, you got to propose a solution. This is where I felt like he left himself open, because what I would think what loosely ties the whole group of people, and they all don't fit comfortably in this, but what ties them together is the solution they're arguing is, hey, man, we have to get all these foreign influences out of American politics. That's the solution they're proposing. They're saying, hey, man, we don't trust our government. We don't know what our government's motives are. And so I want all the foreign influences out. They feel like Donald Trump promised us this. It was MAGA, Make America Great Again, partnered with America First. And they feel like Donald Trump and this whole movement has been about, we're going to hyper focus on America. And if you what Tucker Carlson has been saying for many years, let's get out of these foreign conflicts and foreign wars. We have to fix America. There's a problem in America. And we don't want to hear from foreign governments, people that have loyalty to foreign governments or foreign countries. We want to hear from America's. We got to close ranks. That's the solution they're offering. And there will be people today that will say, Ben Shapiro has no interest in that solution because he believes there's another country called Israel that should be partnered with and have influence over what's going on in America because they're our greatest ally. And from Candace to Tucker to the Nick Fuentes to Steve Bannon to who knows where President Trump is on this, but they don't feel like Israel is our number one ally. And then there are others of us that feel like even if they are our number one ally, which we're up for debate, but even if they are, I don't want them nosing around over here determining what goes on in America. So there is a solution that I think they're being offered up that he doesn't really want to engage in. He wants to name call and smear them and not deal with the actual argument that's being made.
Yeah, the solution that he's offering is one where he advocated in his speech and understood that there's a decentralization of journalistic ethic, right, because of the internet. No longer are major news corporations standing in the way, telling you how to view things, how to see things, and how to think. All the while, it's benefited him. It's benefited Daily Wire because they've taken full advantage of the fact that we don't trust, the media. We don't trust. So he's benefited. Now that he's benefited and has reached the pinnacle, his argumentation now shifts to you need to hear the 5 things that you need to do according to me in order to maintain your legitimacy in this space. Here's how you need. In fact, Tucker would serve himself well to figure out who he's going to be talking to over the next 6 to 8 months, a year. Submit it to Ben and his team so that they can sign off on it as people that are supposed to be speaking. This is the problem that I see with the hypocritical approach. And again, these are my personal opinions. Nobody's paying me to say that. It was problematic not only what he said, I had issue with some of the things he said. But that's fair game. That's what happens in the real world, right? Nobody's losing a life in that. My issue was he took it to a place that didn't deserve the vomitous expression that he displayed to the nation, because every conservative is watching this. Everybody, country, throughout the country are watching this, thinking about this, going to be talking about this. This will be what, Jason, this will be what comes out of the first night. It was the Tucker, Shapiro debate. When what we really should be talking about is what Russell Brand did on the stage in between both Tucker and Shapiro. It was absolutely phenomenal.
What Russell Brand did piggybacked off of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. That was the continuation of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And I agree with you that it will be disappointing that what Russell Brand did will be completely overshadowed. It's disappointing that it's been completely overshadowed, but I'm not sure if this fight isn't necessary so that we can get back to what Russell Brand was talking about and evangelizing about. And I agree with you. I've heard Russell Brand in interviews with Tucker and others, maybe Candace, others, where I've kind of liked him, but I haven't fully. Maybe it's the accent, it's the Hollywoodness or whatever.
Right.
But watching this speech, it's like, oh man, look at this guy's walk. I saw him when he was first learning to walk. Now this dude is jogging and dang near broke out into a full-out sprint. Yeah. And I thought he was amazing in his speech, and just, like, wow, what an evangelist he's turned into.
Yeah. What the Russell Brand speech did for me as I watched it following Shapiro was it caused me to want to pray for Ben Shapiro to receive the Lord Jesus Christ as his Savior. That's what it did. It made me want to pray for Ben to have a fully functioning, fully awakened experience with Jesus Christ. Because if Russell Brand, as crass and crazy and upside down as he admitted on stage that day to have been, to see the transformation that has taken place in his life, my thought was, man, if only Ben Shapiro could get a taste of Jesus Christ, it would be all the difference for him.
I'm gonna not, because everything you said is 1,000% factual, but here's how Ben and his supporters will hear that. It's like, man, Russell Brand and all that crazy stuff he was doing out in Hollywood, man, he needed that transformation.
Yes.
Ben, he's married, he's moral, he's living a great life. He's, he's not out there crazy like Russell Brand was. And trust me, when I'm listening to Russell Brand, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that this skinny dude was, or just this actor, whatever. It's like, this is my experience. This is my walk. Like the things he was saying was like, well, man, that's the stuff I say and think and believe. And those, there are people, critics of mine, there'll be critics of Russell Brand. It's like, yeah, Whitlock and Brand, they were so sick with their own degeneracy that only Jesus Christ could save them. And Ben, he's not as sick with degeneracy as those guys. He doesn't need the same thing. This is what I'm saying. Obviously, I would disagree, and I could walk you through why. But his defenders would say, sick people like Russell Brand and Jason Whitlock, that's what they need. Ben doesn't.
Yeah. What's required to come to Christ is faith as a child. It's the humility of knowing that with as much goodness and grace and well-intentioned acts that you can do on this earth, that those, when compared to the holiness of Christ, the holiness of God, are as filthy rags. It's that recognition that allows you to operate in humility, not self-righteousness, but humility, and understand that you need a savior. The scripture is absolutely clear and right and correct when it says that all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and that we need a savior. My hope and prayer for Ben is that he would come to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, that he would repent of his sins, and that he would walk humbly before his God. And it would allow him, I think, a lot more clarity in his remarks about people. You saw that in Russell. Russell Brand addressed Tucker. He addressed Ben. He addressed the issue of Fuentes. He said, "Hey, I've had him on. I've done these kinds of things." So he addressed all of these things in his talk, but did it from a perspective of, man, I'm a mess. And so I'll have messy people around me. I want to point all of those people out of my love for what God did for me through his son, Jesus Christ. I will point all of those people to Jesus Christ as a result of what God's done for me.
All right, so a tone has been set last night. And I'm not sure if what happens today, Saturday, if it can overcome the tone that's been set. Where, if people want to make news, if they want to go viral, they may have to address the fight that broke out last night and take a side on the fight that broke out last night. And so this AmFest may turn into a WWE event with just more and more conservative influencers or politicians having to jump into that wrestling ring.
It'll be interesting. I'm scheduled to be on a number of podcasts. I've got Media Row, like every conservative podcaster and podcaster wannabe is absolutely here. That some folks caught me roaming around, and your show was definitely a part of helping expose me to an even larger audience of folks that want me to stop by and have conversations. By the way, I had folks thanking me and the show for some of the commentary that we've provided here. So I'm looking forward to what the questions are. What are people asking? What are they talking about? What do they want to? What do they want a response to? I think all of those will be interesting. That's what I was sharing with you briefly before we jumped on. It'll be interesting. I mean, by the time the event was over last night, it was late. Most people were just worn out. Didn't have time to kind of sit, and you didn't get a chance to kind of experience the bubbling in the room of others outside. That will happen this morning. People will have had time to think through, process, and then experience it. So I think today will be more telling of how things fall out, how things are get evaluated, analyzed, think through, and then how people use that for either clicks or for bringing people together. It'll be interesting to see.
Virgil, thank you for taking some time with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of TPUSA. Keep your head on a swivel.
Yes, sir.
It's dangerous out there in them Phoenix streets.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Virgil. All right. We will return to sports, return to the Seahawks Rams. We'll return to Puka Nacua. We'll have some quarterback talk. Coach JB, Jason Brown.
I've been selling my stuff, hustling eBay, PlayStation car parts for little or no pay, so I can sit out here and watch the Titans play. Stumble on home and rub my blue balls away. It's a damn shame what the NFL has turned to for fans like me and fans like you. Wish I could just wake up and Patriots red, white, and blue, but I can't. This football nightmare's true. Living in a Madden world with Lombardi soul. These cowards bound to feminists, Lord knows they all just wanna wear pantyhose and control what you think. Wanna vex you and mask you, and they don't think we know that they drink Bud Light too. Cause these players don't hit, might as well have limp wrists. Cause of these cowards bowing down to feminists. I wish sports media would look out for fans. and not just Taylor Swift promoting her brand. Lord, we out in the parking lot, tailgating, grilling meat, and the old beast just can't wait to eat. Well, God, if you're a referee and blind as a bat, Roger Goodell should grow a pair and give you the axe. We had Derrick Henry, we played ground and pound, but the idiot Titans chased our king out of town. Lord, it's a damn shame what the NFL has turned to for fans like me and fans like you. Wish I could just wake up in Patriots red, white, and blue, but I can't. This football nightmare's true. Living in a Madden world with Lombardi's soul. These cowards bound to feminists, Lord knows they all just wanna wear pantyhose and control what you think, wanna vex you and mask you, and they don't think we know that they drink Bud Light too. Cause these players don't hit, might as well have limp wrists, cause with these cowards bowing down to feminists. I've been selling my stuff, hustling eBay, PlayStation car parts for little or no pay.
But what do I know?
Not much. JB doesn't know much at all. JB, we're waiting for, while we wait for JB, because I'm sure he's probably scouring my old content looking for things for him and Darnell and everybody to talk about on the JB show. I'm going to give you my Fearless 5 picks. Can we call up my Fearless 5 picks? And, yeah, get those Fearless 5 picks. I went 2-3 last. Are y'all sure I went 2-3 last week? Man, Justin is such a hater when he did. I mean, 2-3. I thought I went 3-2 last week. They say, do we have the graphic of my season record? I went 2-3 last week. I'm 29-4. I'm 11 games below 500. Oh man! All right, let's get to the Fearless 5 this week. The Buffalo Bills. I'm taking them minus 10.5 because I want to enjoy rooting against Shedeur Sanders this weekend fully. And so if the Bills blow them out, and I'm hoping Joey Bosa gets like 20 or 30 sacks or at least 1 or 2 sacks, the Bills blow out the Browns, and Shedeur Sanders and the Colt continues to collapse. So the Bills, minus 10.5 at the Browns. All right, my second pick, the Chargers. The Chargers, and this is a kind of a gutsy pick. The Chargers plus 1.5 at the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not a believer in the Dallas Cowboys. I am a believer, still to some degree, in Jim Harbaugh. I wish their offensive line would get healthy with the Chargers, but I like the Chargers plus 1.5 at the Cowboys. I love this next pick, the Bengals, minus 4.5 at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to play Quentin Ewers. They know they're out of the playoff mix. Mike McDaniel knows he's getting fired. The Dolphins are going to get embarrassed by the Bengals. This will be like a 17-point game. Bengals minus 4.5 at the Dolphins. The Dolphins have given up. I like the Panthers, and this is probably my gutsiest pick. Panthers plus 3 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers, I think, probably win this game outright. The Buccaneers, you've seen Todd Bowles snap. They're in a slide. Baker Mayfield's in a slide. I like the Panthers plus 3 versus the Buccaneers. And then finally, don't blame me for this pick. I was talked into it by John Hadley because I kind of like the red-hot Jacksonville Jaguars, but Hadley said this is Hadley's best pick of the weekend. The Broncos minus 3 versus the Jaguars. Hadley's logic on this is like, the Broncos? Only minus 3 points at home. They're on a 12-game winning streak. Their defense is incredible. Bo Nix is hot right now and just had his best game, perhaps as an NFL quarterback. So the Broncos minus 3 versus the Jaguars. There you go. That's my Fearless 5 for this week. JB is ready. I think he's done scouring my old shows looking for content. JB, did you find anything while we waited on you to steal from this show to implement on your show? Did you find anything?
That's fun. That's ironic. I thought that's what you did on mine. I think my show's before yours every day. I think I did. I had a beef to pick, bone to pick with Steve yesterday when he came on my show. I said, you guys stole basically my whole segment about 2018 quarterback comparison. And then, so shout out to you guys for stealing my stuff and running with it. Hey, COE, Jason, you know what that means? Content over everything.
JB,
So,
how do
if
you
it works,
come
it
up
works.
with these things? You really think I would steal anything from anybody? I'm like, I love to give people credit. I
Me too.
reference you on the show all the time. But
Oh,
no,
me too.
we did not steal your content. Sean King came on the show accusing me of that, and I'm like, what is JB doing?
You probably because you don't watch my show, so you didn't watch it, but you got lucky.
JB, let me tell you, you're wrong. I don't watch your show right before my show, but I do watch your show.
So you missed that segment. You missed that segment that I did before your show, which was.
Hold for 1 second. What day did you do it on? Because no, I did not see your segment right
Yesterday.
before. Yeah, I didn't see that. No, what I saw over Twitter, someone put out some stats comparing 2018 to 2025, and they were talking about how few 4,000 or 5,000 yard throwers there would be. I saw this over Twitter. And then I said, they're judging the wrong stats. They need to look at average yards per game. And there were 19 people in 2018 that averaged 250 passing yards per game. And I'm saying there's only 5 now. And so the idea came from what I saw on Twitter. And then I corrected it, in my view, to the proper stats. No, you got the wrong graphic up. But regardless.
Here's the macro. Let me be macro with you. So 2 days ago, I was the one that did it on the show, and then somebody ran with it and put it on Twitter and said, "Oh, Coach AB talked about this." Here's why I talked about it. To your point.
Yeah.
Since 2005, Jason, 60% of the first round drafted quarterbacks did not sign a second contract. That's why. And I've been saying this on your show and everyone else's show and my own for 5+ years. Quarterback is the worst it's ever been. And since 2005, 60% of the first round drafted QBs did not sign a second contract extension. That's how bad it's been.
With the same team. They maybe went to another team.
Period. 60% NFL quarterback play since 2005, 20 years. And I said years ago, 20 years is the barometer for me. It's dropped so dramatically and drastically in the last 20 years that quarterback play is at an all-time low. 37-year-old Matthew Stafford is by far head and shoulders the best quarterback in the NFL. Not close. 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is the MVP of the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether you like it or not. That's a fact. He has no weapons whatsoever. They don't really run the football, and you can argue he's had a pretty damn decent season for a 41-year-old. He's better than 80% of the NFL quarterback play right now at 41 years old. 37-year-old Kirk Cousins threw for back-to-back 300-yard games in the last 2 weeks since replacing Michael Penix, and he's 37 years old. Name me another quarterback other than the two that I've told everybody about, Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones, who are also better than 80% of the league. So you just take 3 37-plus-year-olds and 2 guys that everybody called washed, 5 quarterbacks. They're better than everyone else in the football right now. Are they not?
Hold it. So they're better than Josh Allen. All those guys you just said are better than Josh Allen.
No, I said 80% of the league. Josh Allen is the last guy in that computation that sits out there in anomaly. Joe Burrow was hurt, though. I didn't count him because he just came back. So The other guy I actually had in there, Jason, is guess who? Joe Flacco, 38 years old, who left, drove 100 miles, got on a team that didn't know anything, and led the league in his first 4 starts in total yards and touchdowns. And he just left Cincinnati, leaves Cleveland, gets some pretty toys in Jamar Chase and Higgins, and leads the NFL in his first 4 starts in touchdowns and yards, and didn't know the offense. But we're worried about a guy not getting first-team reps. It's a mockery. NFL quarterback play is at an all-time low, fact. And guess what? We're the most athletically gifted group of guys I've ever seen, and they're the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen.
So, JB, let's talk about where we agree and where I have not been shy about giving you credit. It's like, hey, man, JB for 2 or 3 years has been coming on the show and on his own show saying, hey, quarterback play is at an all-time low. And JB was a guy that 2 or 3 years ago was coming on our show and saying, hey, man, Patrick Mahomes is overrated. It's blah, blah, blah. And it's not that I'm ready to go there with you with Patrick Mahomes, but I have been, like, consistently saying, hey, man, JB was right. The quarterback play is at an all-time low. And so here's what I did, and here's the conversation that fits me and my audience that may not perfectly fit JB and what he likes to talk about in his audience. But I've gone to like, hey, man, all of this emphasis on diversity and black quarterback and all of these changes that I feel like they've made to make quarterback play easier so that they can meet the quotas that they need to serve their diversity goals. So this whole, and so that's, I looked at 2018. I only went that far back in terms of just making my point of like, hey man, look at how it's devolved just in 7 years. That in 2000, there's 19 guys throwing for 250 yards or more per game that started at least 8 games, and now we're down to 5. And I'm saying, and then let's call up the graphic where I pointed out the top teams this year, top records, and then if there were tiebreakers in terms of records, we went to point differential, and I showed you the quarterbacks and the teams that are having the most success. And again, this gets me blasted. This gets me called an Uncle Tom and a coon. But these guys started out the year talking about 16 quarterbacks. Our starting quarterbacks are going to be black guys in the NFL this year. And look at how much progress we've made. And black quarterbacks have taken over the league. And then I say, okay, here we are 14 games into the season. Look at this list. Look at the top teams. And look at the quarterbacks that are quarterbacking those teams. Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford, Drake May, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones together in San Francisco, Justin Herbert, and Caleb Williams. And like, all this black takeover, it's not at the top of the league. And again, it needs to be discussed. Well, why is that? What's going? We have all these black quarterbacks now, and everybody wants to point to racism and this and that, but and they want to champion it. And then black quarterbacks, we've tracked it all season, JB, because they started this discussion. Black starting quarterbacks have won 41% of their games this year in the NFL. And my argument it's not that they're black, it's not their skin color, it's the culture and the mindset of victimhood and challenging of authority. And as a coach, you should be able to speak to this. I feel like white quarterbacks that traditionally come from 2-parent families, that have a dad that disciples them, those white quarterbacks are more apt to willingly submit to the vision, philosophy of the head coach than black quarterbacks that come from these single mamas that are always telling them that they must rebel against authority. And so they never submit to a head coach. They always want to question a head coach. They always think they're smarter than the head coach. They're harder to coach, plain and simple, because they've been raised by their mama and not by a daddy. And it eventually shows up in their performance and in their ability to connect with the head coach, and it affects their performance. That's the argument. That's the conversation we've been promoting over here.
Mine's going to shock a lot of people. I've said it, I've mentioned it before on your show, but I'll give you a totality. There's a reason why I don't coach anymore, and there's a reason why they're missing me in the coaching world. There's a reason why Nick Saban, Mike Krzyzewski, and so many others trying to get out of this current landscape. Number one is the white coach, and then, I don't play victim very often, but being from Compton, coaching majority 90% of inner city black kids my entire life, never had a kid arrested after they left me. 260 kids, Division I, 28 in the NFL. And I fight back on this. Black kids will listen to a white coach before they'll listen to a black coach. Fact. Because they want the father figure to tell them the difference between right and wrong. But we have too many white coaches now accepting all this money and worried about wins only and not the kid and the kid's future. So we get the number one athlete out of high school. We take him as a quarterback, as the 5-star, just to say that, my wee-wee's bigger than yours, and I out-recruited you. Let's be honest. I bring him over here to Oregon. I bring him to Alabama. I bring him to whatever. I put him in there. And at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins getting on the podium yesterday and telling the world that's gone viral, it's dumbed down now because defenses got smarter and offensive quarterbacks can't figure it out. No, what happens is we don't teach anymore. So now we get to the line of scrimmage. We don't demand the quarterback to do anything. We get up to there and we say we run inside zone to the 3 technique. We run outside zone to the shade. Okay, that's our philosophy. We get up there, and Lamar Jackson sees the 3 technique, it's zone check, and he runs it anyway. Because he can't opposite the call because we haven't taught him the front. We haven't taught him rotation of coverage. We haven't taught him when one goes dead, who is the second read. We don't know who's hot, who's not. Where's the side adjust? We throw a card up. We give him a wristband. That Shador dropped, by the way. And then we go, hey, this guy's a freak. He'll get me out of problems. He'll get me out of a bad call, Jason. We don't develop no more. We only care about getting the 5-star kid that's the best athlete, i.e. Lamar Jackson at Louisville during his Heisman campaign. Guess what? Bad call got made, and he made 4 people miss and went up the sideline, and guess what? The coach got an extension. He got paid. Wasn't because of the play call. It's because you had the best athlete on the football field. Now what happens is, Jason, fast forward, the guy goes to the NFL where Myles Garrett and Max Crosby live, and they're the same athlete as you are. So now, if you don't know football in totality, you have been shown up as a failure. You are now a failing quarterback, especially a black one, because you were failed by the coach in high school and college. You can say all you want, but I've done deep dives into this. It is a fact because I never failed them. And guess what? I coached 19 of 21 years only having a black quarterback. 3 to the NFL, 21 Division I quarterbacks, 19 of those were black. So at the end of the day, none of them were arrested. All of them are successful, got their degrees. 13 of them are coaching Division I football currently. And I want to see anyone else's resume compared to that. I want to see current Division I coaches right now who get $3 to $10 million a year who have literally failed the 5-star black athlete quarterback. And you tell me that we're not failing them at all-time high. Because the white quarterback, to your point, yeah, we can talk about, he's cerebral and he understands the cover. He's been in a system his whole entire life. Like, to your point, 2 parents, paid for Youth Pop Warner, paid for all the camps, paid for all the clinics, did all the things going up. Now they understand the game in totality. But the black inner city kid is already ahead of them athletically. We get them over here. We don't teach them crap. We put up a sign of Stephen A. Smith and a rose, and that's the play. And we expect them to succeed in the NFL? Come on, man. We are failing these kids at all-time high because we care about the bag and winning games for us currently, not for their future. We want to win games and get a bigger job. We want to win games to save our job, get our family fed. The kid is a stopgap. Gets me wins, and I could care less about him in the NFL. But I'll sure claim him when he wins a Heisman. I'll sure claim him if he wins an MVP in Lamar Jackson. But guess what? Lamar Jackson's been the same Lamar Jackson since he left Louisville. He has not got better yet. Not 1 year has he improved. Mechanically, he's gotten worse. He doesn't understand the coverage. He don't know the front. You ever see him get up to the line of scrimmage, Jason, and check it? Oh, opposite. Easy. You don't see it no more. Football's so dumbed down. It is you either coach it or allow it, Jason. If you allow these kids and you think they're dumb, then guess what? They're going to be dumb. I never saw a kid. I never had a black kid not be able to understand the front, the coverage, and check and play and get me into the right one because I taught them, and they will listen if you do teach them.
JB, let me play the other side of this a little bit. There's truth to what you're saying, but there's also the, hey, we've cut down practice time. You have more limited access. We used to have 2.5, 3 hour practices
3 times a day
at Ball State. That we don't do that anymore. Things are all sped up. Then now you have social media and the mainstream media that if a head coach, and everybody knows that as a coach or a father or a mentor or a teacher, it's all played out in the school system now, that if a coach gets crossways, particularly with a black player, everybody blames the coach. Everybody. And so it's like, if the coach is trying to be hard, and keep in mind, coaching kids at last chance where like this is their last chance or they're done, is different than coaching them at Wisconsin or someplace where it's like, well, if I don't make it here, I can transfer down to Southern Illinois and still play. I can transfer down to whatever, JUCO or mid-major. I can go transfer down to Ball State and still play, blah, blah, blah. You're dealing with kids, not all the time, but their backs are against the wall. If they don't accept your coaching, they're done. These kids have options, and they have parents that will side with them if they get crossways with the coach, and they have a social media system and a media system from Ryan Clark on down that will side with them if they get crossways, particularly with a white coach. I look at what happened to Pat Fitzgerald. I look at what I've seen happen to some white coaches that quoted biblical scripture to kids, black kids. I've listened to the Northwestern kids, and I saw this ESPN article. This had to be 3 or 4 years ago. They were saying that, he didn't let us tap into our full blackness. He didn't let us wear our hairstyle the way that we wanted. That wasn't the Northwestern way, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like these white coaches are caught between a rock and a hard place. If they try to instill their values that they believe in, well, you're a white racist and you don't respect black values and hip hop culture and all of that. And so, yes, I do feel like they've dumbed the game down, because if they went back to old 1980s thinking and they just said, well, I got one kid who knows the playbook, understands the checks, and I got another kid that it may take me 1.5 years to get him up to par on the playbook and knowing the checks. And the difference between playing the guy now and waiting 1 year for this guy to figure it out could cost me my job. And I don't blame any man for I got to protect my job because I got a wife and kids to answer to and responsibilities. I just think there's some form of truth in the middle of where you're at, of it's all the coach's fault, without recognizing that we're in an environment where these coaches can get smeared as racist for teaching what they actually believe in, for teaching the values and the approach that made them successful. And I say this as someone who arrived on a college campus with a scholarship, with coaches that thought, hey, this might be our best recruit for 1985. You can go back and look at the magazines. I was listed as one of the 2 or 3 best recruits for Ball State in that class. They had Paul Shadell, former offensive line coach at Michigan, thought, man, I got a diamond in the rough here. This kid's the best, blah, blah, blah. And I showed up an absolute headache. A headache. Locker room lawyer, out of shape, blah, blah, blah. And they went at me for 2 years. And you know what my parents said? Man, you better go in there and figure it out with them coaches, because you cannot bring your fat, lazy ass back to this house. Figure it out. But mama and daddy both said that. That's not what we do now.
Nah. Well, here's the thing, though. The reason it is racist and tabbed racist is because these coaches are taking money, but yet they're not willing to build a relationship. So now the kid doesn't understand. They only know one thing. Real recognizes real at the end of the day. If you're genuine or not, you can call kids whatever you want, stupid, etc. They're not dumb. They'll realize if you're lying to them or not in a New York minute. They may not say, may not know 2 + 2 is 4, but they sure know if you're genuine or disgenuine. And it doesn't matter what kid it is, where he's from, what have you, if he passed the SAT or ACT or not. Post-COVID, pre-COVID, he'll know if you're BSing him. That's the one thing the kid will know. And we are BSing them at an all-time high because these same coaches, Jason, voted for this to be the way it is. They voted for this portal, NIL. Once that became number one, there's no more relationship, there's no more teaching, there's no more holding you accountable and a scholarship over your head. Like you just mentioned, I cannot dangle any repercussion over you. You can leave now when it gets hard. You can leave when you get cussed out. You can leave now and not face adversity and have to compete to win a job. Now I can leave. And the number one cause of that, Jason, is peer pressure. And to your point, social media. You know the number one cause for transferring for kids? Number one cause, $10,000 a year, go into the portal. Football alone. Number one cause, what is it? Reason. What's the number one reason a kid enters the portal?
Money. In pursuit of more money.
Nope. It's peer pressure. You and I, it's social media peer pressure. You and I are both 5 stars. We both played at Warren Central. You went to Alabama and I went to LSU. We're in every magazine. We're in every tabloid. We're on ESPN every day. We're the number 1 and 2 guy in the class. You go to Alabama and Nick Saban redshirts you. You're not ready. I send my guys to the NFL. You need to be developed. I go to LSU for Brian Kelly or whoever the coach may be. I start as a freshman because he needs me. Nick Saban don't need you. You need Nick Saban. There's a huge difference. I started right away. Guess what happens, Jason? All your boys and the homies back in Warren Central, damn, Jason, you getting clowned. You ain't starting. You redshirt and JB starting at LSU. Boom, in the portal. Fact. It's the number one reason why you enter the portal. It is social media peer pressure from their peers when you are a highly recruited kid. Look at the kid that left Colorado, the DB McLean. Why do you think he left? Because Deion told him, sit your butt down. You ain't ready. And guess what he did? Boom. Social media blasted him. Remember that? Oh, you're the number 1 corner in football in high school and you ain't even started. You could have went to LSU and started, blah, 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 blah. I'm just telling you, I've done too much deep dive on this. Number one reason is peer pressure. It ain't money. Because half these kids are making $500 to $5,000 on NIL money. That's the average. There's only 1% guys making millions of dollars, Jason. We're acting like all these guys are making millions.
No, JB.
They're not.
I talk to people in this space that actually control that money. And I had this conversation in the last 6 months about 2 offensive linemen from Ohio University that went from at Ohio U making $30,000 to moving up to Power 4 schools and making $300,000 and $400,000 as offensive linemen. This is rank and file. This isn't, hey, these guys are pros. These are guys that can move up, be starters for Power 4 type teams, and they're getting $300,000 a year. And for any kid, anything, $30,000. If I got $30,000 a year in spending money when I was at Ball State, holy cow. what the kind of idiot I would have. When my mother used to send me $20, I was an idiot. $30,000 in a year spending money. You know what kind of idiot I would be. And
but Jason, we're talking
$400.
anomalies. We're talking a very low percentage making that. Like the average, though, I said per month. Remember that probably is 30 grand a month. It's 500 to 5,000. That's the average at the top. It used to be $300 for 2 years ago. So now, but I'm talking about less than 1% is making millions. Let's make sure we're clear here.
I don't think everybody's making millions, but I do think. Let's say
and O-linemen are a commodity. You know that. So if you're decent at all at O-line, especially now with the one portal window, you got to get O-linemen. So $300K to $400K. That's why Whittingham stepped down at Utah, Jason. A private equity firm just took over their NIL. That means they're going to they want a return on their investment. They're not taking that over to not get a return on their investment. Private equity doesn't do stuff for free. So Whittingham said, "Oh, no, I'm done. This is ridiculous. I'm out of here." And Whittingham, I got Eric Weddle on my show every week who's, like this. He's a Utah. That's why he left. He don't want to do this. We're done. Come on now. When you're taking away teaching fundamentals, mentoring kids, teaching them what's right and wrong, the differences of, and then teaching and giving them some sort of foundation for them to be successful in life. When you take that away and it's all about money, and all that, we've lost it. There's a reason why these guys ain't coaching no more. There's a reason why guys want to get to the NFL, because at least there's contracts involved. And this is the reason why this is not sustainable. I told you on your show earlier this year, this is not sustainable. The NCAA did not forward think this whatsoever. It's only getting worse. And when you start to make this only about money, relationships no longer involved. There's a reason why when I go into the home and they don't eat dinner no more with the family. That used to be number one.
JB, but I can't blame the coaches for what the NCAA, what the courts, what the media. I blame the media drummed up all this deal about, college football's broken and we gotta pay the kids this and that. The media helped set the environment to make college football completely transactional. And it's like a new transaction every 6 months. And so it's look, take Paul Shadell, my head football coach, 1985. He knew when he gave me that scholarship, it's like, this is a 4 or 5 year relationship. And it's not, hey, in 6 months, we'll see if the kid hits the transfer portal. We'll see if we want him to hit the transfer portal. The guy knew, like, man, Whitlock, for 4 or 5 years, we're going to be committed to you, come hell or high water. And for them first 2 years, when I was an absolute nightmare, this man had to grit his teeth and deal with me. And they made it very hard. And then in the last 2 years, when I became a player for them and became important to the team, they were still gritting their teeth because it all wasn't out of me. But then even in that 5th year, when I came to him, I was like, hey, man, I got a torn ACL. Y'all have misdiagnosed. And he's like, hey, we want you to graduate. If you want to play your 5th year, you can. If not, we want you to graduate because it's a good look for me if you do. And so stick around, Whitlock, for your 5th year, whether you play or not. And so building a 4 and 5 year relationship with a human being is different than a very transactional relationship where, like, hey, in 6 months we can get out of this and I can get into a new 6 months. That's the system that the media pandered for. We gotta treat these kids the same as coaches, and if coaches get to change jobs, the kids need to change jobs just as quickly, as if there should be no difference between an adult and a child. And there should be in how they're treated. Go ahead, JB.
No, there's no doubt. I'm a full wouldn't agree. I'm the one that's been saying this I'm the one that fights on social media every day with these nobodies, because I'm the one that says you're comparing a 17-year-old kid who don't even know how to change oil in his car to a 40-year-old who's been moving on up and has earned the right and have sent more kids to college than anyone else and babysits your kids 8 months out of the year more than you do. That is the only thing. The only job in America, Jason, is football coach, where we actually are around your kids more than yourself, and yet you still want to come and dictate what I do with him. That's the problem we have, because these helicopter parents and everyone else now is chasing a bag of money. And the coach won't tell little Johnny that you're 5'8", 290 pounds, and you run 6'5". You're not playing Division I. They won't tell the parent this hard reality, which I used to do, and that's why I never had to face any repercussion with some wild, crazy parent or administrator, because I didn't lie to them, and I said, listen, son, you're not good enough. You might as well transfer now. You're not playing Division I. We got guys now lying to these kids and parents saying, oh, yeah, he's going to go D1, he's going to play 7-on-7 and get a scholarship. No, he's not. They're doing that to just make sure that they don't lose at their current position and their current job so they can get new jobs. That's where I go back to saying we're failing these kids, because it's not about the kids. It's about that guy. And rightfully so, though, in defense, because we've set them up to fail. When the kids leave, Jason, and they transfer 4 times in 4 years, it's a systematic problem. When the Lane Kiffins of the world do it, he's a-hole. There's no difference. Your guys set the schedule, not us. And this guy, last time I checked, has earned the right. Just as the Walmart manager getting poached by the Target ownership and saying, we're going to give you a $100,000 increase to leave Walmart and be the manager at Target. Are you not leaving? Just as the Saudis offering PGA golfers, as my good friend Pat Perez, to leave the PGA and go to live and get $200 million. Who's turning that down? No one. So you got to get off your high horse, too, when we're talking about, oh, you're taking blood money and all this stuff. Stop. The janitor gets paid. Everybody gets paid. So stop acting as if you're not going to leave for a better opportunity. But guess what? There was a pecking order, Jason. Those guys are. Pat Perez had a tour card for 24 years straight, longer than any other PGA golfer. But he's sorry, and all social media has created all these fake, false narratives by these nobodies with no profile picture who creates fake accounts, and then we're sitting there battling with them like we have to prove to you who we are. Stop. We have failed at all levels. This is a wild, wild west, and college football is not sustainable at the current model it is right now, and it's going to implode very, very shortly. And the NCAA, in my opinion, is going to pull out, like I said 3 years ago. They're very, very close right now to making this a geographical landscape of football. You're going to have the Southeast, you're going to have the East, you're going to have the West, and the Midwest. That's it. Those are going to be the 4 geographical things, and they're going to pull out of the NCAA, and you're going to have power conferences with those teams. You're going to have Miami, Florida State, and Alabama and Georgia all in the same conference. You're going to have the East Coast playing the same. You're going to have Michigan, Ohio State, grabbing some teams from the Midwest, Indiana, and you're going to have that. And they're all going to have these 4 geographical situations. A.J. McCarron, who just took the head job at the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL, who's on my show every week, he's been saying this for a while. Nick Saban's been telling him this. This is going to happen. The NCAA will be broken away from, because the money's going to outweigh this whole thing, and we're not going to adhere to your rules no more. You're not going to suspend my coach for giving my kid a $4 burger, but yet you're going to allow people to call my players year-round and poach them? No repercussion? Jason, last time I checked, I can check a URL account right now and check where you're calling me from. I can check your phone records too, right? I mean, I think the FBI does that every day, but the NCAA can't. We can't find out who's calling my players. This is a mockery. It's a joke. They don't care. So the NCAA has created this, and they're going to have to live with it. But it's going to implode here very shortly, I promise you.
Let me move on to the topic of the day, Puka Nacua, and what the hell is going on with Puka Nacua, which to some degree it's, Aiden Ross, and I know he doesn't work for anybody, he works for himself, but it seems like we're going to be all upset about Puka Nacua in this video of the Happy Merchant dance or whatever. Someone needs to be mad at Aiden Ross as well. But I can't figure out, is this a psyop? Because Puka Nacua is a hell of a football player, but he has now been elevated into one of the biggest brands in the National Football League. he's now in Shador land in terms of popularity and importance. It just happened overnight because of these controversies, trolling the referees, the Aiden Ross dance, his brother being accused temporarily or maybe permanently in this car theft. And then last night, 12 receptions, 225 yards. Looks like the best wide receiver in football, a combination between Steve Largent and Michael Irvin. What's your thoughts on Puka Nacua?
One of my best friends in the world coached him and recruited him to BYU, Coach Kalani Sataki. So he's known him. Great kid. Everything that I know, he's a great kid. Polynesian, culture doesn't really allow for you to do a lot of craziness outside, and this is surprising to me. The brother, it seems to be the problem here. It's been that way. He slapped a guy in a UFL game last year in the crowd, and he's done a lot of things off the rocker. I've heard stories about him before. Nacua is a great kid from everyone that I know that coached him and recruited him and knows the family. This is the problem, and you alluded to it. These social media influencer nobodies, I call them, it takes a nobody to make a nobody a somebody. Let's be clear. The nobodies of social media that we can't see their face, we don't know who they are, buy into the Drewskis of the world, these Kai Kinettis or whatever his name is, this Aiden Ross. I don't even know who these guys are. I'm so glad, and Eric Weddle came on the show and said he's so happy that McVay said, hell no, absolutely not. Get the hell out of here. You're not bringing these cats onto our campus in LA in the facility. And then Nacua goes out and says what he said about McVay turning him down is telling. Like, I don't understand that part. But he's the best football player in the NFL right now. Football player. Screw wide receiver. He's the best football player. You can argue him and Myles Garrett if you want. Those are the best football players in the NFL right now. Period. What he's doing right now is a football player. You and I may be the only ones in this conversation that knows what that means, and maybe your audience don't understand it, but a football player is different than a positional player. This guy is the best football player, in my opinion, right now, and it's not even close in my opinion either, because last night, what Stafford did and the Rams, which it was an anomaly. They dominated that game. I'm still convinced the Rams are Super Bowl champs. What happened was you didn't have Devontae Adams, who leads the league in touchdowns. And he throws for 400 yards and gets this guy the ball. This is why I say quarterback play is so bad, because that guy makes you better. He got 3 no-name tight ends, 5+ catches, 2 no-name wideouts, 5+ catches, 400 yards, and they dominated the game without really a run game. And Nacua still got 15 targets and 12 catches, even though you know that's the only wideout on the field that you have to stop, and you can't stop him. There's a difference when you weigh it that way. So what he's doing off the field is going to be a distraction regardless of what you want to say. To Smitty's point today, I had to argue with him. It's still a distraction. You can say it's not, Sean McVay, and I love Sean McVay's response, but it is a distraction because at the end of the day, Jason, these cats watch shows like ours. They watch these influencers, Aiden Rosses and all these guys, and they're like, oh, man, what's he talking about today? Whether he goes out and has 12, he's the best football player. He's going to have 12 catches. But guess what? It's going to end up being a problem later on when you have to play a Seattle in the playoffs or play somebody that's going to be good. Your team at some point is going to lose faith in you and saying, is this about football or are you trying to be something else? Because why don't you become the best football player right now? You can influence and be a social media streamer forever. That's going to be around, I'm afraid. So the investment of these kids, Jason, it's not just Nacua, it's all these guys. They'd rather have more babies than touchdowns. They'd rather lose their money than keep it. They have no value for the dollar. They have no value for their own self. And this is what we're seeing. And wideout's the most prima donna position anyway, Jason. You know this. So it's not shocking to me, but for him and being from a Polynesian background, it is a little bit shocking. I think McVay will round this up, and I don't think you'll see this much more from him. I'd be shocked if you do.
JB, it sounds like Sean McVay and Nacua, in your view, not on the same page right now.
I wouldn't expect so. I don't think Weddle thinks that either. I think there's some sort of disconnect because of the off the field stuff. And the Rams, if you notice over the last few years, even with being in that 2 Super Bowls and winning one before the Stafford trade with Goff, you never see the Rams in any sort of media, negative media. You don't see the Rams. You never really hear about the Rams. Even though they've been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, you don't really hear about the Rams in a negative light at all. Aaron Donald, he's gonna retire early, and he's a great everything's a feel-good story out of LA. McVay runs a tight ship. I got a great friend there, Eric Yarber, one of my best friends in business, been a wideout coach for the Rams for some years now. That is a very tightly knitted ship. It's very it's a real brotherhood in that locker room. Those guys he keeps. You notice if you see who Sean McVay signs and cuts, it should tell you. And what they do, their GM's great. Everything that they've done is very, Philadelphia Eagle-ish without all the reading the book on the sideline hoopla. Now Nacua is bringing that A.J. Brown effect in there, and I'm worried that's going to do what it's doing to the Eagles right now. And I hope that's not where we are, and I think Sean McVay is going to reel that in. But Nacua, I would expect the family, the culture, and everybody that's involved with him mentor-wise is going to get a hold of him. And get these nobody social media guys out of your lane. You have bigger. You have something bigger.
I mean, the guy is months away from signing an incredible contract that will recognize he's the best wide receiver, and again, one of the great can't be replaced football players. He's a unique talent. That kind of physicality with those hands and a little wiggle shake, can run the routes and cut on a dime, has enough speed. I don't know if I'm trying to think if we've seen this combination before in terms of route running cleverness, physicality, 6'2", hands, not afraid of anything.
He's Mike Evans.
He's better than Mike Evans.
Right now he is, but Mike Evans is the most underrated wideout in the history of football. I think Mike Evans is who this guy is when he had a quarterback, not like Baker, a real quarterback. So that's where comparison is for me. He's Mike Evans in his prime. I was on the field last week at the Ram game, and got to see Stafford and talk to those guys warming up. Those guys are different. I'm just telling you right now, Stafford is different. Stafford and Goff are back-to-back throwing to each other's team. And Goff is a top 5 ball spinner, arm talent-wise. And Stafford makes him look like a little boy. Stafford is different. Stafford, I would argue, if you had him on a competent roster and organization for his first 10 years, would have 4 Super Bowl rings minimum, and you'd be talking about the GOAT conversation. He would have surpassed Aaron Rodgers years ago.
Not to put words in your mouth, you're basically saying he'd be on Patrick Mahomes' level. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's much better than Patrick ever was and ever will be. Here's the thing. Just imagine he leaves Detroit after
He doesn't like my jokes.
Goes to LA, my joke, I get your joke. It goes to LA and wins it year 1. You're telling me all those debacles Aaron Rodgers had couldn't beat the Niners and all these other teams? You're telling me that Stafford don't have 3 or 4 Super Bowls on a competent roster over 10, 12 years? Stafford has the it factor. Aaron doesn't.
You made the point, but let me buttress it and put my personal spin on it that you would probably be a little reluctant. Last night I was watching that, and trust me, other people had this thought run through their head. But I was like, man, Stafford's out here with a white flag football team putting a clown suit on the Seattle Seahawks. Who are all these white guys catching balls? I was like, I done showed up at a flag football tournament.
And Seattle has a top 3 defense, by the way.
Yes. And I was like,
you imagine Shaduki?
White boys
You imagine Shaduki?
You imagine Shaduki? All these brothers. I've seen this in flag football before.
You imagine Shaduki playing that Seattle defense?
Yeah.
Do you realize what he just did? Like, it's unbelievable to me. Shaduki struggled against a top 7 Chicago Bear defense. You think top 3 defense in Seattle is going to what that would have looked like? You got a guy without the number 1 receiving touchdown getter in football, throws for 400 against a top 3 defense, making him look like an absolute mockery, led by a defensive-minded head coach who was in Baltimore on a Super Bowl team on defense, who coached Eric Weddle, getting just absolutely diced up by the best play caller in football currently, Sean McVay, and the best quarterback without their number 2 weapon. It's a mockery. I'm not worried at all. I'm more worried about Seattle being down 30-14 and just an anomaly occurring. It is what it is. You can argue the Rams choked, fine, but I'm not worried. Thursday night, they just played Sunday on the road in Seattle.
Well,
12
both teams
man.
just played on Sunday. Listen, though, the Rams
But on the
did
road.
fall asleep. I mean, the Rams did fall asleep in that fourth quarter. I mean, they relaxed. I'm not sure if I felt like there was a couple of opportunities to run the ball. JB, I think there were 11 possessions in the fourth quarter alone. I mean, that ball, and I know punt return and all that, but there were so many possessions and like 3 straight 3-and-outs, I think, for the Rams, where they took no time off the clock. I mean, there was 9 minutes left. They're down by 16. And the next thing I look up, there's 5 minutes left, and the score is tied. And
They got an interception on the goal line.
Yeah.
The Rams picked it off with a D tackle, and I'm like, oh, this game's over. And I'm on my boat out in the Christmas parade out in Newport Beach, where you won't come to. And I was like, damn, what are we doing here? This game should be over. 16 points in 90 seconds is what they basically scored, Jason, just in summation. So, listen, I'm not worried, though, because, again, I'm happy for Sam Darnold because I predicted he's a guy, and I'm right again at this quarterback thing, contrary to your belief. But what do I know? That's the name of this segment, because I've told you he's going to win 14 games again on another team, Jason. And guess what? Sean King and everybody else out there wants to continue to say, oh, JB, you're wrong. Oh, really? No, I'm not. You're wrong because I said don't ever get rid of Sam Darnold in Minnesota. So I can't wait for the demise of Minnesota, and I can't wait till the bottom falls out in Minnesota because you thought you were cute by keeping this rookie that never took a snap and getting rid of a guy who won 14 games because he lost in the playoffs. Yeah, how's that looking right now? He's going to go 14 wins again, Jason. He's going to win 14 games again, Jason.
I don't trust Sam Darnold.
That's fine, but he got over that. Guess what? Last night, though, just as Peyton Manning took to beat Tom Brady, sometimes it takes some time. The Rams was his kryptonite. He finally got over that hump. Mentally, that's a block released. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a Sam Darnold that spins it, rips it, and takes Seattle pretty deep in the playoffs.
JB, I'm going to let you get on with your weekend, finish up your holiday shopping. Looks like you're dressed to hit the mall and play Santa.
You can't go to the mall no more, can you?
Yeah. I went to the mall just a few days ago.
Yeah, the mall's like Spirit Airline now. I don't mess with that.
I did. Anyway, JB, I got to go. Thank you so much. Great job as always.
So you're funding the Super Bowl party that I have, or what's going on here? What's the story there?
Oh, now Yes, I am. Yeah. Did you? I just said yes. Yes.
I'm just asking for all the fans they ask. I just was like, oh well, I don't know what Jason's
Super
doing.
Bowl party makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? We got 2 teams in the top 12 playoffs that are 20-point underdogs. Is that really the top 12 teams? But hey, guess what? I expect some.
Tonight, we're not even talking. I don't let Puka and everything overshadow the college playoff start tonight.
Yeah, I expect a horrible football again. Again, I'm going to be the pessimistic. I don't care. College football.
Bama's going to beat the brakes off Oklahoma, in my opinion.
I'm with you. It's hard to beat a team twice. I think Bama does win. But James Madison and the repeat of Ole Miss Tulane is a joke. Sean King knows he's a joke. That team should never be in the playoffs. He's just biased. Tulane doesn't belong in this thing. Either does James Madison. It's a joke. But guess what? You put Mina Kimes and Condoleezza Rice on committees, that's what you get.
JB, Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the college games. Enjoy the NFL games. We got to go. That's JB. Hey, last thing I need you guys to do, go to fearlessmission.com. Become a subscriber to everything that we're doing here at the Blaze, everything we're doing here at Fearless. A full year of entertainment, no shipping, no waiting, no stress, $20 off. Use the promo code FEARLESS20. Go to either fearlessmission.com or gift BlazeTV.com. That's it. That's all from us this week. We'll see you next week.